Welcome to this episode of YouTube where winter is upon us, and we had a little bit of strange weather as many across the country experienced some warmer weather that had a rainstorm and thunder and lightning, and then switched to cold, dropped pretty quickly. So we did utilize the building on Thursday morning, let Grizzer come in and kind of thaw off his hair with some of that ice from the weather, and he's doing great. You can see him here chasing a raven. So the building is something where he can come into the building, but it is not something we lock him in, meaning we don't want him to panic. And so Grizzer does utilize this back habitat, and you're seeing here where Rika does come into that pack holding area. We lock Grizzer in the back transition area and let Rika and he be face to face. She gets weighed once a week on Tuesdays, and so that's a standard thing for him. But Grizzer does not get locked in the building. You know, he does not have direct contact with Rika because obviously she's pretty young and she's pretty spry and she's a bit much of a pup for Grizzer. But it's nice for him to have that social interactions. And you can see here the other bonus about doing this is that we want Rika comfortable with going into holding. Axel and Grayson don't have this. Axel and Grayson are pretty intimidated. You see them in the back there. They're not even coming into the chute. They're so intimidated. Wolves tend to be very neophobic, afraid of new things. They don't like things over their heads. You know, so they're already 5 going on 6, and they do not have the same kind of tolerances that Rika does. Of course, Rika is 6 months old, so she may develop a little bit more kind of avoidance, but the more positive experience you can have for her at a young age, especially into some of these holding areas if we have to do work in the enclosure, is helpful. Obviously, the other bonus is when Grizzer comes back out, he gets to investigate everything that Rika's been. You saw her steal one of his caches and recache it. You know, he gets that opportunity to smell it. So he's definitely getting older, a little unstable when he shakes, but still pretty cognitively aware. There's a peacock feather there that's placed to just kind of give him one of those things to identify, you know, whether he walks by it, to smell it, to not run into it. You'll see wolf care staff being very diligent about keeping his path cleared of snow and ice to make sure that, you know, he has a pretty good travel pattern. So the other thing that was really interesting from the surveillance cameras this week was some Grayson shots. Here's Grayson at, this is Monday morning, about 6 in the morning. Grayson doing a full, complete submissive rollover to Rika. And it's Axel up on the pump housing. He's, you know, aware of what's going on. The difference is Rika is very, very calm with Grayson. She's not jumping on him. She's not grabbing him. When you watch Rika with Axel, it's a little bit different. She's, you know, riding up. She's jaw sparring. She's grabbing onto his tail. She's grabbing onto his neck. Grayson is in a full submission here, and she's not, she's being very respectful of him. And so it's interesting to watch the relationship between these 3 individuals. We definitely know that things are going to get more intense as the winter progresses. Winter is the season for increased dominance, and we are preparing, trying to make sure that we have staff, you know, dawn to dusk, to make sure that we have staff, you know, in the lab, prepared to be able to deal with distractions if we need to try to curb any kind of dominance. But we're bound to see some changes between the Arctics, between Axel and Grayson, related to Rika's presence in the pack. So whether it be posturing for, bonding with Rika, or whether it be posturing and defending Rika, or whether it be dominance related to Rika, we're certainly preparing for it. So this was a really encouraging moment, and certainly it speaks to that social bonding that is characteristic of wolves. And we do believe that we are seeing probably the strongest bond between Grayson and Rika, and that's been really since Rika arrived. I mean, Grayson was the one, camped out, always watching where Rika is located. So the other thing that was kind of notable, this was a clip earlier this week. So Grayson's doing what's called a kind of a typical ambush, laying in wait, waiting for Axel to walk by. What I found was interesting here is Rika comes by, and mimicry is how wolves learn, and she is going to try to do an ambush. She does have an attention span of a 6-month-old pup, so it doesn't last very long. But it does speak a little bit to the formation of an associative bond that may be eventually directed in a pair dominance. So we'll be watching that. If you want to learn more about it, we have a wolf care webinar here on Tuesday night, the 21st, and Winter is Here webinar. It starts at 4 p.m. That's Central Standard Time. And you can register at wolf.org to be able to view this. It will be archived. We always share footage. We'll be checking in on Grizzer that night as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.